guys, this is Brendan. Welcome to Spectre Paintball. Today, just going to talk about scopes and red dot sights. So we have our red dot sight, and we have our scopes. Now, my opinion on scopes and red dot sights in paintball is that they should only really be used for scenario. I've seen people try to use them during rec ball, and they don't work well in rec ball because in the rec ball that I play, our games, it's a different game every 15 minutes. So we can go from playing in close quarters combat to playing over 14 acres of land. Now, in the scenario games to play at, we're playing over all 14 acres. So a red cross sight will help you at aiming at longer distances. A scope will help you. Spot enemies over longer distances, and if you know your gun's accurate and you feel really comfortable with your gun, you can use your scope to aim. I usually don't use a scope for aiming purposes only. I do use it every now and then to sight in someone, but I mainly use it as a spotting scope. I want to be able to see people from far away moving around and where the positions are. And then, the way I aim either underneath the scope, because this Weaver rail has sights going underneath, right there, so you can aim underneath and then go back and forth between your sights. And I usually aim down off my iron sights because my scope is up a little bit higher. That's what I like to do. And then I just use the scope when I want to see people moving, then go back down to my iron sights when I'm ready to fire. I have used my red dot sight in scenario games as well, and it works great. It's easier if you're on like the assault, but you're far away, but not like, probably like 50 yards away. I would say 40 to 50 yards away. It helps you just kind of get a little bead on them, and then you arc up a little, and then you have to arc up a little bit, obviously, to make the shot. But when you get into close quarters combat, it's a little bit easier than using a scope, because when you're using a scope in close quarters combat, when you go to zoom in, often if it's too close, the image is blurry. By the time you focus it, you're gonna get shot. That's just what happens. So scopes are better in paintball for spotting scopes. They're great to have. They're absolutely wonderful to have, and I think they're a great asset on the field to be able to see where your enemy is moving from a longer distance before they see you. So they have a different purpose on the paintball field, in my opinion. A lot of people like to use them for sniping, and that's great. More power to them. If they can snipe accurately with a scope, that's their choice. But I like to use them to spot enemies. Red cross sight, or red dot sight, I like to use to just get a bead on someone and then hit them. Otherwise, I use primarily just my iron sights, or just look down the side of the gun when I fire. I think it's easier. I mean, it's a paintball gun. You can only get them so accurate. Even though my gun's pretty accurate, it's just one of those things. So definitely, if you're thinking about getting one, definitely get them. They're a ton of fun to use, but I'd save it just for scenario. I wouldn't use them during rec ball, out in the woods. If you're playing speedball, no use for a scope or red cross. I hope you know that, and I hope everyone has the common sense to know that. But just saying. But definitely, if you want to get one, go ahead for it. But the one thing you need to make sure is that if you're wearing a mask, that when you have your mask on, you can still look down the scope. Sometimes people, they go to buy a scope, it's like, oh yeah, this looks great, but they don't have a mask on. If they have it right up to their eye, they like it, because you're not wearing anything over your face. So before you try out a scope, put your mask on, and then put the scope up and see if you can still see your image clearly. And if you can get a nice, clear, crisp image with your mask on, then you're golden. If you're having trouble getting a nice image with your mask on, try it on the scope, try it on the mask, try something, or just don't use one. So that would be the only thing to watch out for before going out. Buying a scope, red cross sight, it's different, obviously, because you don't have to, it's not sensitive to where you have it in relation with your eye, like a scope is. But before you go out and buy a scope, make sure, because you don't want to go out and spend a good amount of money on a scope. Scopes really aren't that cheap, and then have it not work with your mask. So that's the only thing I'd check out. But otherwise, go ahead, go out, buy them. They're a lot of fun, and they're great. They're a great asset. So thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and we'll have a new video up in a little bit. Thank you.